Hello, and welcome to the final episode of Season 2 for Para Norleans, the Paranormal New Orleans podcast, where we tell tales of the strange, the spooky, the unexplained, the otherworldly from across New Orleans, Louisiana, and beyond. I am your hostess, Fat Girl Freestyle. This is episode 12. We will be taking a hiatus until the beginning of spooky season in October. We hope you have enjoyed season 2. Please remember to follow us on Spotify. Please also remember to share these podcast episodes with everyone you know. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Fat Girl Freestyle channel, if you would like to see more spooky, unusual, and otherworldly content. Tonight's tale comes from a subscriber who would like to give a warning when traveling. Sit back, relax, and thank you for listening. My husband and I love going on road trips. The kids are in college. We are both semi retired. So we have a lot of time to indulge in going here, going there, finding new places to visit. Many of them are off the usual beaten path. We have enjoyed taking many a last minute road trip just to escape for a couple of days. It is one of the things we are incredibly passionate about, and we encourage others to do the same. Now, this one experience I'm going to tell you about, while we are normally very safe, we usually feel very secure, and we haven't had any odd experiences for the most part. But this one experience really, really shook us up. We were traveling to Arizona, and we decided to stop at a rest stop rather than get a hotel for the night. Neither one of us were tired. We felt like we could continue on to our destination. We would rest when we got there. So as you can imagine, this is in the wee hours of the morning, about 1:30, 1:45 a.m. We pull off of the highway at a little rest stop that's fairly well lit, but it's not as large as some of the other rest stops you normally pass along the highway. There were some 18-wheelers that were pulled off to the side, taking their breaks for the night. So it wasn't completely abandoned. However, it felt that way. Now, when we pulled off the highway, and I know this is going to sound so strange, but when we pulled off the highway, it was almost like going through a bubble. And the closer we got to the rest stop, that bubble finally burst. So it felt as though we were in a different atmosphere. When it happened, I shuddered a little bit as though a chill had run through my entire body. My husband looked over at me and asked if I was okay. I told him yes, but I asked, "Did you feel that?" He asked me, what was I talking about? I said, "Never mind. We've been in the car most of the day. My mind has been wandering. Let's just get out, stretch, use the bathroom, get some fresh air, and continue on our way." We found a parking spot close to where the restrooms were, and we noticed that there were a few vending machines with some snacks and drinks in a relatively well lit area again. So I searched through my purse for some ones and some change. My husband did the same, looking through his pockets for some ones. He decided he would go to the vending machines, get us some snacks and some drinks, and I would go to the restroom. We got out, we stretched, took some deep breaths, but I still could not shake that feeling as though we had made a switch from, I don't know the best way to describe it, from one dimension to another. I know it sounds weird, and I apologize if it does. I may not even be describing it very well, but hopefully you're getting the point of what I'm trying to describe. I just knew that when we were on the main highway and being in this place, in this rest area, it was definitely two different spaces. I started walking towards the restroom, and something in me kept telling me to turn back, grab my husband, and go to the car. But I ignored it because not only did I really need to use the restroom, but I really wanted to stretch my limbs being folded up in the car. My body was starting to ache. So the short walk would be good for me to get the blood flowing. I just brushed everything off to it being a long day. I was getting tired, and we still had another 2.5 hours to go before we got to our hotel. Let me just say this. Please don't ever ignore your intuition. Don't ever ignore those little nags and tugs that tell you something isn't right. I regret not paying attention to it. I truly wish I had, because this experience still haunts me to this very day. I continued on to the restroom. Reaching the door, it was almost completely covered in spider webs. No one had been there in quite some time. So I just ignored the spider webs because, again, the urge to use the restroom was getting stronger. And if I waited any longer, I was going to have an accident on myself. So I pushed the door open. And of course, it was your typical horror movie door sound, a creaking that echoed throughout the restroom, bouncing off the stalls. It sent a chill through me. I looked around, expecting to see someone in there, because it certainly felt like someone was there. The air was heavy and stale. It was hot and very muggy. There was a couple of bulbs, but they were very dim. I reminded myself about the spider webs on the door and figured I needed to be extremely careful using the toilet. So I pulled my phone from my pocket and turned on the flashlight. And just out of habit, I never use the very first stall in the bathroom. I always go to the one furthest from the door. So I go in, I use my flashlight to make sure that there are no spiders or webs hiding in any strange places where my lady parts might be in danger. So I turned the light off and tucked my phone back in my pocket, closed the door and locked it. And I proceeded to hover. So it took me a few seconds. And once I started the process of using the restroom, I could have sworn I heard someone's feet sliding against the floor. I stopped myself, listened closely. Nothing. I continued relieving myself, taking a deep breath, feeling the relief come over me, but still having that sense of I should have grabbed my husband and ran back to the car. It felt like this process was taking forever. But I heard again feet sliding against the floor of the bathroom, and this time I know for sure I heard it. I finished my business, went searching for the toilet paper, finished up, and before I could flush, I heard whispering. I couldn't understand what was being said, but I definitely heard whispering. And feet sliding against the floor. My heart started to beat so quickly. My temples started pulsating. I was afraid to breathe. In those moments, I was overcome with an intense fear. I began to sweat, not because the bathroom was hot and muggy, but because whatever was in that restroom with me, I knew was very, very bad. I heard the whispering again. And this time when I heard it, it made me freeze. I couldn't move. I knew I needed to get out of there, but my mind was not connecting with my body to get my limbs going. And then I heard the voice clearly say, come out, wherever you are. Come out, wherever you are. I'm not gonna hurt you. I just want some company. I knew that there was nowhere for me to go, no way for me to escape. The worst part of it all was I could hear the feet sliding again along the floor, slowly, rhythmically getting closer to where I was. Come out, wherever you are. That laughter made my breath catch in my chest. And I was finally able to move my hand, but it was only to cover my mouth, to stifle a scream. This thing was toying with me. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how I was going to escape. I pulled my phone from my pocket and it was completely dead. It had been fully charged when I entered the restroom. I know it was. I kept pressing the button on the side, trying to get it to come on, but nothing. I was on the verge of full-blown panic because I couldn't even call my husband to come in and see what was going on. I kept trying the phone, and those sliding feet kept getting closer. And that whisper, come out, wherever you are. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it out of this. I started to think I had to do something. I couldn't just sit here and be a sitting duck. I couldn't just sit here and wait for whatever this was to trap me in this stall and do whatever. I said a little prayer asking for strength. I wasn't sure what I was going to face. I just knew that whatever it was, it wasn't human. May not have even been human at some point. I pushed my phone deep down into my pocket. Took a deep breath. Placed my hand on the handle of the stall door, ready to rip it open. And I was going to punch and scream my way out of that restroom. Another deep breath. Sliding feet stopped right outside of the stall. It was now or never. I let out a primal scream and pulled the door open, almost pulling it completely off the hinge. It slammed against the wall and made this loud, echoing sound throughout the bathroom, and I immediately started swinging, making my way out of the stall and straight to the door to make my exit. And I couldn't get it open. No matter how hard I pulled and yanked and pulled and kicked at the door, it wouldn't open. I started banging and screaming and yelling my husband's name. I'm not gonna hurt you. heard it coming from the empty stall that I just ran out of. My blood ran cold. My mouth went dry. My screams were suddenly cut short. The sliding feet. This time accompanied by nails slowly scratching against the wall. Turn around. Turn around. It's okay. Turn around. I couldn't turn around because if I did, I knew that it would be the end of me. I just stood there feeling that thing coming closer. I could feel the darkness pressing against me, sliding feet, nails against the wall, the laughter. And I started to pray again because I knew that whatever it was going to completely consume me. And all I could do was close my eyes and feel the ever increasing pressure against my back, so heavy that I was unintentionally being pressed against the door of the restroom. I felt like my lungs were being crushed. I couldn't get in a good breath. I felt an intense freeze settling into my bones. I at least wanted to try one more time to scream. And then all of a sudden, I heard my husband on the outside of the door banging, 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 trying to get in. And I grabbed the handle of the door and I pulled with all of my might. And it finally opened. Oh, and I fell into his arms, crying. He was in a complete panic. He said, I've been looking for you for the last 30 minutes. He said, I've checked this bathroom 5 different times and you were not in here. Where did you go? I couldn't believe what he was saying because there's no way I was missing for 30 minutes. I never left the bathroom. He'd come in, he said, and he checked every stall, which were very few of them. He walked around the entire building calling my name. He went back to the car. He tried calling my phone. Where was I? I just looked at him. I was in the bathroom. I was in the last stall, but something was in there with me, and my phone was dead. I just was screaming. I tried to get out, and I was there. I was in there. And suddenly, from the darkness of the bathroom, rising up, we heard, I just wanted to play. My husband and I didn't hesitate. He grabbed me and we ran as quickly as we could back to the car, hopped in, sped off, and never looked back. On the 2.5 hour drive to our destination, he kept insisting that I tell him what happened. And I couldn't. Every time I tried, that creepy laughter rose in my head. My voice got stuck in my throat, and I could feel that same pressure squeezing the air out of my lungs. And I told him, we are never going to speak about this incident. I barely made it out alive. We made it to the hotel, shaken and ready for some type of normalcy, a shower and a comfortable bed. anything to put this out of my mind. As we were checking in, my husband is making easy conversation with the front desk clerk. She asked if we needed any snacks, any drinks or chips or anything. There were vending machines at different areas of the hotel. And my husband, just making conversation, simply said, "No, we stopped at a rest area a couple of hours up the highway and got some things, so we're okay." And the clerk froze. And she looked at him and she said, "The rest stop at exit 63? And he said, "Yes." She said, "Sir, that rest area has been closed and abandoned for 20 years. It's fenced off. There's no vending machines there. Everything's completely gone." And we both stared at her and insisted, "That is where we stopped. My wife even went to use the restroom. I got the drinks and the snacks, and I'll show them to you." And when he reached into our travel bag to show her, there was nothing. Nothing. The bag was empty. And we looked at each other in disbelief. Because what the hell happened at that rest area? The desk clerk, while sliding our room keys to us, said, "I'm glad you made it out from exit 63 alive. Enjoy your stay." Crazy, I know. But I'm urging you, when you are out on a road trip, make sure you know where you're stopping. It's best to stop at a gas station, well lit. Avoid any rest areas because you just never know. Needless to say, my husband and I stopped taking as many road trips. That was certainly an unforgettable experience that changed the both of us. Well, that was a very intense tale. Thank you for allowing me to share it. Listeners, take heed when you're traveling. Make sure that you are always aware. Pay attention to your intuition because it will never steer you wrong. This is the conclusion of season 2, episode 12 of Para Norleans, the Paranormal New Orleans podcast that tells tales of the strange, the spooky, the unexplained, and otherworldly from across the New Orleans area, Louisiana, and beyond. I appreciate you for listening. I appreciate your support. And please make sure you are following Fat Girl Freestyle on all socials. Make sure you are subscribed to Fat Girl Freestyle channel on YouTube. If you'd like to make a donation to support, Venmo at Fat Girl Freestyle. You can also Zelle at fatgirlfreestyle@gmail.com. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening. And please, please, be safe out there. Don't go tempting the unknown.